Welcome, students, as we prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I am one of your teachers, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your nerd today, Carlos Rodriguez. And as always, I am joined by my teacher in crime, Sly. Sly, how are you today?
Much like Superman for like 99% of this movie, I also feel like death.
Yep. And that's a good segue to our movie, which we're talking about 2018's The Death of Superman. This was directed by Jake Castronera and Sam Liu.
Who fucking cares?
All right. Sorry, Jake. Written by Peter Tomasi, which was a pleasant surprise for me. I love Peter Tomasi's work on DC comic books. Famously, he's done Super Sons, a John Kent, Damian Wayne book, which is phenomenal. And he's also done Green Lantern Corps, a bunch of books.
Also very gay.
Oh, really? This dude's the best.
Oh, the Super Sons book. I feel like there's
I thought you meant Peter Tomasi.
Oh, no.
I was like, this is awesome, man. Like, Peter Tomasi's the best.
I have no idea.
Hey, man, we're not going to assume Peter Tomasi, but you know the rules, or my saying, everyone's a little gay, whether they like to admit it or not. And the more you fight it, the gayer you are. The studio, as always, is WB Animation. This one stars Jerry O'Connell, Rebecca Romaine, his wife, his actual real-life wife, Rainn Wilson, Rosario Dawson, Nathan Fillion, Christopher Gore, Matt Lantern, Shamar Moore, Jason O'Mara, and so many other people who did, like,
2 seconds.
So 2 seconds, like Turpin and Sawyer and Mercy's in this, and yeah, shout out to everyone.
Yeah, my beloved.
Now, is it streaming anywhere? No, I put it on here. It's streaming on the island of Laughtale. And if you are a One Piece fan, you know what I'm talking about.
I never will. I've listened to so many actual plays that are like high-key inspired by One Piece, and I will still never get the references.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Fine.
It's fair. It is a daunting task to tell someone, really, hey, watch 1,000 episodes of a TV show. Watch 8 episodes of the live action, and then if you like that, check out the new reboot coming out on Netflix this year. But Sly, can you hit us with that plot recap for this one?
I'm gonna move this to the screen that's not making my brain feel like death. The
non-doomsday one.
Superman. The non-doomsday screen. The other one, like, I can't just like auto change the brightness. I have to like fuck with it. And that's just too much effort for right now. Superman saves the mayor from Intergang on his way to an interview with Lois Lane, of course. She is writing a story about Superman. Who would have guessed? At the Daily Planet, she bumps into her boyfriend, Clark Kent. She wants to meet his parents. When a meteorite hits a space station and then the Atlantic Ocean, it brings something with it. A powerful creature. Superman gets help from his fellow superheroes in Justice League to confront the threat. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor is observing from his not-so-efficient house arrest. Can you tell I didn't read this beforehand?
This is so good.
The doomsday creature makes it to Metropolis and wreaks havoc there. Thank you so much, Scott, for that lovely plot recap that you have provided us with. My favorite thing is they don't mention our beloved Hank Henshaw.
Yeah.
Astronaut. Good for him.
Who catches it the worst, probably, in this movie. He's so hopeful at the end. He's like, he loses like his whole family. He's like, Superman will help me. Superman help me, and then catches the asteroid to the face. Like, it's so violent. It's so violent.
Yeah. R.I.P. It's fine.
Sly, hit us with those comic book characters. I didn't even put Hank in here. Isn't that
you didn't even put Hank Henshaw on this list. So, besides him, who we love, we've got Superman, Lois Lane, Both Ma and Pa Kent live in this
Yeah.
one. That's always exciting. Green Lantern, and by that you mean Hal, is back, unfortunately. I do miss Drawn already. It's fine. Aquaman for like 2 seconds. Cyborg's there. Hawkman also there for like 2 seconds. Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Batman, Jimmy Olsen, my beloved, Mercy Graves, my beloved Lex Luthor, Bippo, Turpin, and Sawyer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stack. They try to get as many like mainstays of Superman lore, and I mean, again, we open up with Inner Gang. You know, we have Bippo. He's just got his restaurant, the Ace of Spades. Um, we get Ma and Pocket in this storyline, which is rare because both other iterations of this, which we'll talk about soon, only have Ma Kent around in the storyline. Actually, every interpretation, I believe, even the comic book at the time. I think he may have been passed at the time. I forget. Um, but yeah, they're this is like a heavy, like, let's throw as many. You get like Steve Lombardi. He's in the Cat Grant's in it. You know,
My favorite thing is like half of the references here, which I know are references to like Superman canon, are, are like solely references to the Supergirl TV show in my brain.
because of
Like
Cat Grant.
Maggie Sawyer, that's
Maggie Sawyer.
Alex's girlfriend. Like
See, which is
Hank,
crazy. Well,
obviously.
the only crazy thing about like the Arrowverse and
Mhm.
how everything played out with Batwoman is the fact that Sawyer and Kate are such a dynamic couple in the in the cartoon and stuff. Now I know a lot more interpretations do Renee Montoya, which is a little more of a modern pairing. Well, a lot of
Renee,
earlier,
so much.
yeah, a lot of them were Sawyer and her. So I do like. I think I we don't have anything Batwoman related coming up, right? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
I think we only have one movie. That's it.
We had 3 Bat women in one movie.
Yeah.
Um Nothing titular for them for the
All
rest
right.
of the show. That's unfortunate.
I know. I just got bummed out. All right, so we'll do it real quick. Kate and Maggie Sawyer, or Kate and Renee Montoya?
Again, Maggie and Alex are such a couple in my brain.
I know.
That's a hard one for me to break up. And when I think of Montoya, I think of Ming-Na Wen, right? That's who voices her in the
Who voices Montoya?
not. Who
Are,
voices Montoya? I know it's somebody iconic. Yeah,
let me see.
both just frantically googling.
Vanessa Marshall, Leanne Schreimer, Victoria
Oh
Carden
no,
McKee.
Ming-Na Wen plays the the not Montoya in
Oh, yes.
the
Yes.
Batman.
Yes. That's right.
I forgot she's not technically Montoya in that one. R.I.P. Um.
She's Yin, right?
Anyways,
Is that Yin or
Ellen something.
yeah, I
I don't
forget.
know.
She's like one of the characters from Dark Knight Returns, I think.
Mm. Anyways, I love Renee Montoya. I think she deserves all the love in the world. And so I'm gonna put her with Kate.
Yeah, I think there's something beautiful about the fact that Kate and Renee are both hot messes.
Mhm.
It kind of fits.
Emphasis on the hot and the
The
mess.
mess. Yes. Both are very true. Yeah. Maggie is very put together. She
Mhm.
is
She does
Metropolis,
have her shit together.
Yeah. So like being with Alex makes a little more sense.
Mhm.
Someone who also has their shit together. So yeah, that was fun little term. Moving on, we are gonna start the Andrea Romano roundup. Again, we shout out our voice director, queen herself, Andrea Romano. Um, we'll start with a fun one real quick, and then we'll go to the serious one. Okay. Sorry, I just downed a Red Bull. It was coming back up. We're gonna start with this. Speaking of energy, how many cups of coffee do you think Lois drinks?
Too many, like 12 a day.
Right? Because the fact
Like,
that she didn't take the second coffee from Clark, I thought was alarming.
oh, she drank it. I
No.
guarantee you, she's not letting that coffee get to waste. I think uh, she feels like the person who starts her day with 4 shots, and that's like
Ooh,
just
okay.
enough to get her going.
Like we were talking about the
And
Pedro
then
Pascal like order.
and then she has another coffee approximately every 3 hours for the entirety of her workday, which is like 18 hours long. Like,
Yeah.
that woman constantly has a cup of coffee. And, like, sure, maybe half of them go, like, half unfinished, but she's still drinking, like, a frankly absurd,
Yeah.
like, worrying amount of coffee
Because
every day.
on a really tired day, I'm a good 3 cups, if not maybe 4, depending on like how tired I am. Like when we do 2 episodes back to back, and then like the next day at work, I'm like, well, there's a coffee on the way driving into work. There's a coffee around 9 o'clock, and then a coffee at 1, and maybe an energy drink on the way home because I'm exhausted. So that I'm like around there. Like when it comes to so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why didn't she take the call? I was like so offended that she didn't grab the coffee from Clark, you know, because Kat got her one. I was like, no, she's gonna drink both. She's definitely gonna drink
Gonna
both.
drink both. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I like to think she starts her day sweet, like maybe like a fun coffee in the morning, and then as the day progresses, it's just black coffee.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel that. I'm also the kind of person who the majority of the time will just drink my coffee like black or like cold brew or like just something very plain and boring.
Hmm.
But I do love a sweet treat. Like I'm not like I can't like upset the sanctity of my coffee with like sugar. No, like I will
No,
drink a sweet treat. It's just not my everyday morning concoction.
yeah, I
Like
love myself a mocha, but like my second or third coffee is typically a black, like cold brew, just
yeah,
straight,
you
like
can only
nothing.
handle so much sugar in
Yeah.
your system.
Exactly, before it like it like goes against you.
Mhm.
But that was a little fun thing I had question for myself. I'm like, wait, me and Sly love coffee. Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, I'm thinking she's
I've
like
been
a
doing a lot
5
of
at least.
energy drinks lately,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
same. Yeah, I've been doing like the little
Um,
sugar-free ones.
there's only one energy drink that I can drink, but it is amazing. It's like PD's the Bing,
Oh, what's that? I don't remember that.
and the mistake I found was realizing I can order a case of it off of Amazon,
Ooh,
unfortunately.
that
Like
is a
fuck
problem.
Amazon, but also um it's the only way I can get certain flavors to
That
my
sucks.
house.
Yeah, we're kind of
So,
we're big on Celsius a little bit. Like there's certain ones, and then I just found out the name. It was Red Bull Amber, which is like what is it? It's like apricot and strawberry. Like that
mm,
sugar free is pretty decent. Yeah. If we go for like flavor stuff. I try not to, but like the mango locos, I think they call it mango loco. I think they're monster energy drinks. Those are delicious. And that's a problem. That's a problem because it tastes like juice. And then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's 300 milligrams of caffeine. Okay. I'm stuck in
mhm,
traffic. Let's see what happens. All right. But moving on to
real.
a more serious topic here. Not like, oh my God, doom and gloom. But I found this interesting. This is the third time this particular story has been adapted since the original
Mhm.
comic run in the 90s. And this is the second time together we have covered it. So, question goes, what's the best adaptation of the Death of Superman storyline?
Which one's the one we haven't covered?
Batman v Superman.
Oh,
Yeah.
duh.
And it's okay.
Sometimes I forget that movie exists. If
I
we're
own
being
it.
perfectly
I
honest.
own the Ultimate Edition and I will sit there for 3 hours and watch it.
Mm,
Don't know why.
fair enough. Yeah. Well, Not that one, unfortunately, because I do forget it exists. Um, this one is pretty good. We covered it in Origins,
Yes.
the first one, and honestly, I don't remember a single opinion we had about the
Yeah,
movie.
I forgot that we were gonna cover it again, in this
Yeah.
season. Like, knowing and it was funny, we didn't cover this in host history. I midway through this movie was like, "Oh, I've watched this before." I was like, "How?
Oh,
I don't remember watching this before. I don't know why." But I, like, blanked it out of my
I
brain.
know I've seen one of them beforehand, and I think I thought it was the other one, and
I
that
thought it was the other
probably
one
still
too.
tracks in the timeline of things,
Yeah, in my
but
head,
it
I
might
thought it
have
was the
been
other
this
one because of Connor. I was like, "Oh, Connor Kid, I
one.
love Superboy." I thought I watched that one more. I've seen
Yeah,
clips
love God.
of him, but,
Mhm.
like, that's it. Um, I haven't seen anything besides clips. Um, I would have to say this one's probably the best adaptation. I think because we've had now how many movies this season covering seeing this Superman grow, a little bit, seeing
Oh, this is our 11th
yeah.
movie of the season.
So out of 11 movies, he appears in what? 9 of them at
Most of
least?
them. Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, we've grown with the Superman. He's had a relationship with Diana, which is established early on that they're not together anymore. It seems mutual. I'm
We
assuming
gotta talk
Diana
about the
broke up.
breakup.
Yeah, Diana
Thank
broke up with him, right?
God. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, I was once again, I had already thought we were at the place in this universe where him and Lois were together and was very confused. So this time I was doubly confused. I was like, wait, is Clark dating Lois, but Superman's dating Diana? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
What
in
is
my head,
happening?
that's what I thought. I was
Um,
thinking too. I was like, "No, he would never do that."
he would never. However, the writers would, and
Yes,
that's the
unfortunately.
problem. Is like I don't trust that that's a decision the character would make, but it is something I feel like the creatives
Mm,
might make. Um, But no, so that was very exciting. They finally broke up. I hated that relationship the more and more we saw it. It just
It's
kept getting worse.
it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right because, like,
So
Lois is I'm not even saying that Diana's not perfect for
perfect.
him. There's certain storylines in certain comic books that have a world where there is no Lois Lane. Maybe she's passed
Mhm,
on and they're both immortal beings. So, like, for the most part, yeah, that makes sense. And that point, it was like, well,
mhm.
we've been friends forever. Why not, right? We're probably only some of the only people who can live forever, in this universe. So yeah, why not? It kind of does make sense in those universes, or if there's ever a universe that somehow Lois has never been around. Yeah, I can see it, but when she's there, it, it's just weird. It's just weird to not have them in some kind of relationship. Even if you're like, even in this, like Mom and Pa are talking about like all his past girlfriends. They're talking about, Lori, right? Or Lorna. I forget her name. She's a mermaid. I made a joke
There
about it.
was like a bajillion
Yeah. Lori,
relationships that
yeah,
all
Lori,
started with L
Lana,
that they were talking
yeah, Lori and Lana and stuff like that. Like, yeah, okay, they're like points in time, but like the second in my head, the second he meets Lois, that's endgame for me. As it goes with Peter and MJ and Marvel Comics. Like the second I know he was with Gwen and all this other stuff where they were friends at the time and all this other stuff, but like the second she says face it tag or you hit the jackpot, I was like, that's it, dude. That's Endgame. Like they have to be together forever, and Marvel doesn't care. And DC Comics at the time didn't care about Clark and Lois being together, and they luckily realized that hey, they should be together. They make sense. you know, we made the wrong decision of having Diana and Clark be a couple. Again, only certain storylines in the New 52. That one comic book run is like the only one that's pretty good. It's Superman and Wonder Woman. That like short 16 issue series is the only good one. Other than that, man, not a big fan either. But this at least that part didn't feel rushed. The fact that they were together for a while. I like that Lois is with Clark. Not necessarily she's not even falling for Superman. Like they're a little flirty with each other, but like it seems very innocent. You know, it feels cutesy, but like when she's with Clark, she's like in the relationship with Clark. Like she has wants, hopes, dreams with him. She stops calling him Smallville, which I think is really cute. Kat notices that. Um, and I like that they made it like a very human problem for Clark. Like him opening up is what's causing a rift in a relationship. Where Flash is like, I'm getting married. Yeah, I told Iris like we're on Jump. Like I saw Iris, I was like, yes, we're gonna be a couple, and I'm gonna tell you right from jump, I'm the Flash. And one day, hopefully, we get married and have twins. That'd be cool. Like all like he told her from jump, and like, I mean, Bruce just sows his DNA all over the world for some reason. So he always picks bad women, and he tells them, he's like, "Hey, you know who I am? I'm Batman. You should probably not tell people, Bruce. Nah, it's fine. It's okay. It's not gonna backfire."
No.
Like all these people have opened up to their significant
How
others.
much cowl on sex do you think he's having?
New 52 Batman, a lot. Unfortunately. All-star Batman, unfortunately, a lot. Which is weird. Again, it's very weird. And it also depends on the writer, but every time it's written that way, it's like, mm, I don't like it. Though Cal on and Cape pants, like the tights, but no shirt, like when he's fighting Ra's al Ghul, very hot look. Very hot look. He's got like the chest hair, just chilling. It's a hot look for Batman. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I really dug this specific adaptation. I think also the other adaptations are missing like some key components in that storyline where Doomsday, fights the Justice League first,
Mhm.
to show the fact that Doomsday is a threat. It's a different Justice League he
It's
fights
like
in the
the
comics.
threat.
Yeah, but like having him take on this Justice League, and we don't necessarily need to see the full fight. We get a breath
Right.
of it, just like having him take out Hawkman really quick and Green Lantern really quick, and then Flash really quick as well. I was like, oh, he's a threat. And then when we catch back up to him, I put in my notes like you see him fighting two of the most physically gifted leaguers in
Mhm.
Aquaman and Martian Manhunter, who like they're not punching Superman punches. They're not that strong, but they're up there, man. Like Aquaman is super strong. He's just yeah. I think it's safe to put him like a little bit under Diana. Like I think it'd be if you're putting pure strength. I think you're putting Superman, Wonder Woman, Manhunter, Aquaman, in that order, like from just pure punching strength. And Doomsday is just eating these punches from these guys. And
From
he's
these
so
gods.
yeah,
These
and he's
it's
so
like literal.
yeah, and they do this thing too where he's like they give you info about Doomsday without giving you info on Doomsday, right? They give you enough to be like, whoa, what's his backstory? Because he has heat vision. So that if you know Doomsday's lore, oh, he is like this Kryptonian monster that kept like experimenting on and like killed and rebirthed and that's why he's adapting, he's growing claws and all this other shit. So it's like, oh shit, he's got heat vision. Like that's pretty cool. But if you don't know, you're like, man, what is this guy? And a lot of times, he's always portrayed as like a dumber, maybe Solomon Grundy or like Hulk, where he just can't
Yeah.
stop. But this does a really good job where he has this rage, but even Manhunter is like, he has no idea. There's no thoughts other than attack, 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 fight, 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 like kill basically. And
And somebody had a line like what planet
yeah,
breeds this? Like
yeah, and that was
what
Lex. Yeah, Lex was talking to
Mhm.
Mercy, and they were both like, "What can make something like this?" Which is crazy because it's Krypton.
Mhm.
But it is nuts to me that Manhunter is doing pretty good. He's intangible and invisible. Doomsday can sense him. He knows he's there, and then because he's about to attack somebody else, he's able to get the advantage very quickly. But it's like a tactical decision. He's purely this like apex predator. Yeah,
Right.
that's what Doomsday feels like. He doesn't feel this is the first time where he doesn't feel like weird, you know? The very few times we've gotten him post this storyline when it was originally crafted, like we've gotten him in Justice League, the animated series, for like one brief episode, and then Justice Lord Superman lobotomizes him right away. I was like, oh. We've seen him, in Batman, Superman, with and Wonder Woman, Supergirl, that whole arc, we saw like a bunch of depowered, mindless, even more mindless than normal Doomsdays. And then we saw like, Superman Doomsday, the previous adaptation. Something about this adaptation just shows the visceral nature of him. And I get, you do get a more blood splatter, and there is something to be said about the PG-13 rating where you could do a little more. But he
And
just
you got
feels like,
Clark with the tights that are ripped up into like hoochie shorts.
oh my god, his thunder thighs, dude. Like,
Yeah.
what? Squeeze me, pop my brain, dude, with them thighs. I saw him, was like, oh shit, man.
Hmm.
Lois is like, man, if we make it out of this one, I want to keep. Well, canonically, Lois does keep his Battle World slave outfit in her closet for fun times.
My thing about Lois is how long have they been dating? And how long has she not seen Clark's physique in order to put that together? That man is ripped.
Dude, he's such a himbo body. Like when they show him with the short sleeve shirt and the jeans, and
Uh-huh.
he's getting in her cab. I'm like,
Like she's a better reporter than that. She could put it together.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree because that was like one of the other things. I was like, I don't know what version I like more. Like, it could be a follow up question, but like, I don't know what version I like more. I don't know if I like where Lois knows and is just waiting for Clark to tell her, or the other way where it's like, hey, I'm telling you, and she didn't know. I don't know which one I like more. I know a lot of
I
times
like
just
her knowing.
yeah,
I feel like it makes her such a stronger, more fleshed out character that she's like, well, yeah, I put it together. It's not that hard. You would take off and then all of a sudden Superman appears. I wonder how that happens. Like
exactly, yeah,
it's not like you're subtle about it, dude.
and like yeah, I don't want to give the guy too much credit because he's not a good person, but I won't even mention his name. The author of Superman American Alien, which is a really good adaptation. Again, very problematic
Yeah.
writer, and unfortunately, I don't know how revenue goes down. It's a great storyline. If there's a way you can read it, like through the public library or anything like that, where this guy doesn't get money, please do it because it's well worth it. But me and Greg Miller talked about this. I like feel like I'm shouting myself out when we did my episode 50, where me and him talked about the
Mhm.
meaning of Superman. We talked about this specific comic because it did a lot of smart things, especially for a modern Superman take. And Pete Ross comes out to Metropolis near the end of the series. It's like issue 6 or whatever, and it shows like chunks in Clark's time in this universe that this a-hole has created. And he's like, man, he's like, you're doing it. I'm so proud of you, man. You're doing because obviously Pete knows. So he's like, you're doing the Superman thing. You figured that like life balance out. You figured out a journalist thing, which you've always wanted to do. You killing it, man. He's like, but dude, like, really, glasses? That's it? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, dude, you'd be surprised it really works. And he's like, well, how does it work, man? He's like, well, don't people come up to you all the time? And he's like, yeah, people come up to me all the time and they're like, hey, you know what? You look just like that Superman guy. And he says, oh, thank
Mhm.
you. I get that a lot. And he keeps walking. Because how many times have you seen somebody in the streets, and you're just walking by and like I've seen it. I do it all the time. I'll see somebody walking around. Unfortunately, I have this incredibly horrible gift where I will see someone and they look like a very bad celebrity. I'm like a very ugly celebrity or something like that. And I will equate this person to that. And we will all laugh very and I feel like a piece of shit. But it's a gift and a curse that I have. But like I make those jokes around and people do it all the time. How many people, look like Clark? Think about the world, right? We were talking about this guy off air, I think, last week. Think about Noah Centineo, right?
Oh, replacement JT Austin.
Yeah. You replaced with JT Austin. Think about him and think about him with glasses and his like dark hair. He would look like Superman, you know? And think of Noah
Okay.
Centineo in the DC universe, like actually not playing, Adam Smasher, which he was in the unfortunate Black Adam movie. But think of him like in the DC universe. If he was an actor, Access Hollywood or Extra, Mario Lopez would be like, "Hey, man, they always say you look like Superman." He's like, I get that a lot, man. Like it must be the same physique and smile. Like there are so many people who have that square jaw, especially when he's buff, like that buff body, the dark hair, the blue eyes. There'd be so many people in the world. You'd just be like, dude, that guy kind of looks like Superman. And you get some clear photos of Clark, but never like that. So it's a really, really fun, interesting take. I'm really excited to see how James Gunn tackles Superman
Mm.
in his new movie. And knowing that, it seems very similar to what we have here. Clark has a relationship with Lois. Does she know he's Superman? Like, that's gonna be a crux. It seems like she does from a lot of the trailers that we've seen. I haven't read any spoilers or anything, but if you see a lot of trailers, you see her and Clark interacting, and then her and Superman holding hands. It's like, well, I feel like she knows, and it does work better. My Adventures of Superman
Okay,
is a
my
good.
question for you
Mhm.
is, do you like it better when Lois is dating Clark or when Lois is dating Superman and he has to do the reveal?
I really enjoy when she's dating Clark because
Mhm.
that's who he really is. Um, the Superman she sees once they're together is just Clark using his powers and wearing a suit. But
Right.
all in all, again, to shout out that episode I did with Greg, that we both discussed it. That is something for me that feels better. Like he is Clark in all aspects. Um, some
Mhm. It's like
storylines,
we always say, like, Superman is the mask, and
yeah,
then Bruce is the mask. Like,
yeah,
Batman is, like, his true self or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah, the character of Superman is just a means to end for Clark to do what he needs to
Mhm.
do with his powers. But
Right.
certain storylines, explore that, but it's more about like, especially nowadays, it's more about the symbolism when it comes to Superman, specifically that aspect. Some talk about his alien heritage, and like we talked about that in Superman Unbound with JJ. Like the
Mm.
diaspora nature of that, of him missing Krypton, and only being transplant, so he only gets like in certain aspects. Some storylines are cool like that, but when it comes down to it, I do like that Lois has an infatuation with the farm boy, because that's who
Mhm.
he is at the end of the day. There's certain parts in certain movies that have hit that right, like that nail right on the coffin, right? If you go back to Christopher Reeve's Superman movies, that was more where Lois in the comics was Superman's girlfriend, and you can
Mhm.
tell it sucks because then it was Clark dealing with like, well, am I good enough for Lois? And every once in a while,
Right.
it would shine through, and she'd be like, "Ooh, you know what?" She would see like the little glimmer. If you go to the '90s and you see, I think that might be where it started for me. Um, Dean Cain, not a good person. His portrayal of Superman, very good in the Adventures of Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman. Great show, great series for the time, and that is something that explored the aspect of Lois and Clark's relationship. I do
Mhm.
like that because a lot of times, and there's some people online who will say, "Oh my God, Lois is so superficial. She loves Superman and all this stuff." She's not. She really isn't. Um, yeah, because he's like a hot superhero, whatever, but she's not a damsel in distress and all this stuff. She sees something special in Clark. And I think that's when they explored that part of the relationship. I think it really works well. And then that's what we have here, which I really
I
liked.
would
I
love
like
to
that she
see
went.
do, and I don't know how they would be able to pull it off because I don't know how you could contrive a scenario where Clark doesn't realize the second version is Lois. But I want to see somebody take on a love square with those two. I think that would be an interesting
Mm,
storyline.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be interesting as well. We do have the moment, at the Ace of Spades restaurant where Superman reveals himself to Lois, and she immediately, and this is one of the best things about Lois. She immediately goes, "Oh my god, how did I not know this?" And then, she's been dating him, it seems like a good while. They've
Mhm.
had the infatuation beforehand, but like looks like they are serious now. And it gets to the point where she doesn't even think about relationship wise. She goes, "Oh my god, the conflict of interest. You wrote stories about yourself." And I was like, "That's
The
Lois Lane, dude.
ethical boundary.
That is motherfucking Lois Lane right there to a T." Because she went from, "Oh my
That
god,
was
my
so
boyfriend's Superman."
unethical.
Yeah, I was like, I fucking love this. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to Lois.
Yeah,
Like, yes, this is what you
correct.
do, man. Every part of this movie, and that's kind of going back to our roundup. Every part of this movie feels like a better adaptation of the other two that we've gotten. They take pieces, right? And you get like the brutal nature of the fight between Doomsday and Superman. You get a little bit of the Snyder stuff in here. But what I thought was very important with this adaptation was the heart that came from it.
Mhm,
Because I'm not gonna say Henry Cavill is a bad Superman. I think he was a good Superman and a good Clark for what he was given. He was
mhm.
not, unfortunately,
He
given
wasn't given
enough.
much quality.
Exactly. You're not given much. There's like one scene that pops out with him drinking a beer, washing the dishes at the farm while they're watching a football game, like a college football game's on in the background. He's listening as Zod's making his first, announcement to the world. Um, that is such a random small moment in that movie that doesn't get highlighted enough. And it's one of my favorites because Clark can't get drunk. He is purely a farm boy in that sense, just helping his mom out and drinking a beer. He probably doesn't even know what beer tastes like. Like, I don't know how his taste buds work, but like he's so normal in his head. Like that's just a normal thing for do. Let me grab one beer because it's Saturday night. When I'm done these, I'm gonna go watch Kansas State fight, whoever, and or I'm assuming, I guess, Jersey, right? Or the Gotham, like whatever college team. They're like little things like that. And this adaptation shows those moments. And it shows when they're fighting on the bridge, Superman is constantly trying to save as many civilians as he can. He tries to get the woman out of the car, notices that Doomsday is right there with the car, holds the car off, then tries to get her back out, and then Doomsday grabs him and throws him. He takes time to save the kid, smile at the kid to show him that, hey, everything's gonna be okay. And that's like, so he doesn't need to. He's hurt at
Mhm,
that point already. He's already been beaten up quite a bit, and he smiles at the little boy to show him like, hey, everything's gonna be good. The little boy gives him a hug and like kind of reinvigorates like Clark's fight, gets him back in the fight, but he's constantly trying to make sure that there's going to be damage. There's nothing he can do about that. But if he can minimize how much people don't die, I think
mhm.
that's something that we don't see from Snyder's version of Superman. And when it comes to, I do love that he gets a very important confidant telling him, "Hey, Clark, don't mess around. You need to go for the killing blow in this one." Basically, like Diana is telling
Yeah.
him, hey, you need to take this
You
to the
can't hold
limit.
back
Yeah,
or it will kill
yeah.
thousands.
And he does take that in consideration. He does, and that's a smart thing and subtle thing. It's not something he takes too much time into. um this is a Superman that I think, obviously killing is a last resort, and I don't think he's actively trying to avoid it at this point, but it's like, hey, if I have to, I will in this universe. Like if it's a dark side, I think Clark would go for the killing blow, knowing how bad Darkseid is in, post New 52 universes. Um, I think here specifically, he knows, hey, I'm gonna have to do this eventually. And I think we don't talk about it a lot. It's not mentioned, it's not harped upon but his decision to kill Doomsday in this is purely like, "Hey, I gotta do it. If I don't do it, this is gonna be bad." And it's that one final punch is so goddamn visceral in this adaptation compared to anything
Mhm.
else. Compared to the comics, the comics is literally just a, you know, Goku, Vegeta punching each other one time and then them falling kind of deal. Because they're both exhausted and they die that way. Superman Doomsday, it's like same thing. Batman v Superman is stupid how they do it. It's so dumb. This one is probably my favorite because it takes the brutal nature of Doomsday and for that we've seen in this version and the Snyderverse, and kind of keeps that. So Doomsday stabbing him is very brutal and very visceral, but Clark going for the blow and hitting him so hard that Doomsday neck and head does a complete 180 is such an
Mhm.
insane visual for Superman. If you watch it, Invincible, if you read the Invincible comics, that's something you see every issue, right? You get Mark angry enough, he kills somebody, because he has to. Here's Clark like, I'm gonna have to go like to the limit, so let me go do it, and you get this very brutal but like cathartic end to this adaptation. It's really well done. I think this might be the best that we've gotten so far. Hopefully, we take a long break from Death of Superman storylines. James
No,
Gunn,
we
if you're
don't need
listening.
another.
Yeah, we don't
We
need
hit the
origins and we don't need the death of Superman anymore.
yeah. I feel like this kind of drew on the successes and pitfalls of its predecessors, and we
Hmm.
can just say, okay, this is the adaptation. You
Yeah.
need to know anything about the storyline, go watch this movie, you'll be fine. We don't need to do it again.
Yeah, hell, you could even set the Superman universe in a universe after he died. Like, hey, this happened. We're not going to show you it. It's not necessary. You know what happens. Yeah. Same thing with his origin. You know what his origin is. We don't have to keep showing you. It's stupid at this point. Let's not. There's other good Superman storylines. Let's put it at rest now that we have a good adaptation. But hey, adaptation wise, this season, 2 for 2. Because
Pretty good so far, yeah.
well, I was gonna say Jericho. The what's the name? The Judas contract. But I was like, still a little creepy with Slade.
Yeah.
Um, before we move on to drama class, anything you want to shout out specifically?
Yeah, we got not one but two meet the parents moments. That
Oh
was
yeah,
exciting.
that was yeah.
Lois got to meet the holograms of Kal-El's parents. And then also Ma and Pa Kent. That was great.
God, they were so cute too.
Um, I just want to give another shout out to the Cat Grant in this movie. She was perfect. I loved her so much. She was beautiful.
Yeah,
I want to see so many more Cat Grants being inspired by her character. I
I like that
think
they were
that would
friends
make
too with
the world a
Lois.
better place. Yeah.
Because a lot of
Younger,
times they put them,
friendly,
they put them at odds a lot of times.
Mhm.
I like that
I
they were
and
friends.
that's not my favorite place. I like women supporting women
Hmm.
and helping each other thrive in the workplace.
Yeah,
We did get confirmation that Bruce officially sent Damien to the boarding school he threatened.
yeah. I like to think Damien's like, I'm gonna leave for a little bit. I need a break. If I'm not with the Titans, I don't want to. I kind of don't want to be here either. Also,
Mhm.
Ace grew. He's so big now. He's so big. Damien, not so
Buddy.
much. He's so short. The poor, poor boy.
Little wimp.
He really is. Dude,
uh
I lost it when Damien hugged Bruce during
yeah,
the
it was
funeral.
rough.
I was like, holy
Speaking of the
shit.
fucking funeral, Lex being allowed to speak at all? That was
Oh my
so fucking
God.
disrespectful. A absolute disgrace. Couldn't stand it.
Every time they do that in
Um,
adaptation, I'm just like, oh, you piece of shit. I hate it.
I hate it so much. Especially after we already saw all of Lex's fucking experimentations and like
Yeah.
We could talk about the con of it all another day.
Very soon. Yeah, I did love though that Dr. Kilborn from or Kilbine from Star Labs already called him out on that shit. So like Cadmus will take over. You mean the chop shop that you got? Like everyone knows. Like you're not fooling us, Lex. Like
Yeah, a poor dude who has to wear Lex's home arrest anklet. I don't know how he rigged it so he could unlatch it without it setting off alarms, but all right, whatever, I guess. And my final note was there was like 5 million mid and post credit scenes
oh my
in
god,
this
yeah.
fucking. Did we really need that many? And they
This,
were all like 3 seconds long.
yeah.
I was like, all right, that was the choice that was
Like how
made.
many people don't know what storyline we're getting? Because when they announced this movie, they announced that hey, we're doing Death of Superman, and then like a year later, we're doing Reign of the Superman. So like,
Mhm.
if you know the storyline, you know
We've
who's
been
coming.
fucking cursed by the marvel of it all.
Yeah, this was like though this was like Hobbit levels of endings. Like I was like, God damn it, come on, man! Like I get it. And listen, the first one I got, I was like, ooh, Connor Kid broke out of his thing, and then it's like, ooh, John Henry. And I was like, all right, I don't care anymore. I don't care about the Eradicator. I don't care about Hank Henshaw, the Cyborg Superman. Like I saw him, I was like,
I
okay,
care about Hank Henshaw.
the DC's equivalent of Mr. Fantastic, but like if everything went horribly wrong for him. God, that blew my mind.
Now
By the
that's
way,
a
as an adult.
question. Who's the top and bottom?
Yeah, I guess yeah, because if he's the Mr. Fantastic, Clark is his Doctor
Uh-huh.
Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we'll have to visit that in 2 weeks when we cover Reign of Superman.
Talk about that later.
Yeah, God, I need to breathe in a little more Hank Henshaw in this universe to see like, ooh, I feel like would be a top and a bottom in that. This is gonna be the
You're
DC's
welcome for
equivalent.
that.
Yeah, this is what we're getting. Yeah, I do love the boarding school. I do love that. I don't know why, and I love the PTA line, which we'll cover it in a moment in
Oh yeah.
drama class. I do love that. Um, this is a very subtle thing, but at the end when in the comics, I believe it's the Justice League who carry um Clark's body to his
Mm-hmm.
final resting place, or Superman. You know this is because the world doesn't
Every
know.
single person who was carrying that casket was in a different uniform. Was it
Yeah,
just like all of the armed forces?
yeah. It was literally all of the American military. It's one person represented each person, and I thought that was a really cool thing. Also, if I'm right, I think the Marine was the one that was crying, and I was like, "Ooh, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably the
I think
only,
so.
the only, the only branch that is like would cry." It was like, you know what? That Superman guy, we're cool with him. We're cool with him. The Navy's just in the background doing nothing. Coast Guard's there for some reason. If
They
you're in the
needed a
Coast Guard,
sixth.
yeah. If you, yeah, that's it. Space Force is there. I don't even know why we exist. It's like, don't worry. Once Lex is president, he'll fix this. Don't worry. You guys will be a thing. Again, would I
Oh,
vote for
Lex
Lex
would be
Luthor?
a fan of the Space Force.
Honestly,
Fuck.
that'd be the thing. He probably would. I don't
He
think his
would.
presidency would go great, but I think. Oh, I'm not gonna go that far. I was gonna say, tariffs wouldn't be a thing. He'd be tariffing like Thanagar. It's like they gotta
Yeah.
get these illegal aliens out of Earth. Usually mean the United States. No, I mean Earth. I'm talking about the whole damn planet.
Yeah,
No, we
that's the problem
support
with
people coming
Lex.
from Mexico.
Is he'd
Their
be a
countries
really
suck.
bad president. He would be a really good global dictator.
He would. Yeah. That's the issue. Yeah. Yeah. That I want to do that. I want to do that as a bonus episode, but you know, we're already called woke in progress by other people on the internet. I don't know how far we can go with that.
We need to make merch of that. It's still the funniest comment I've ever seen on our page.
That was my favorite thing.
Oh, I hope
That
you know, whoever you were, that you brought us so much enjoyment and
Yeah.
entertainment. That made our lives. That was the best comment I've ever gotten.
I would also like to think because that person was upset about that character in Naughty Dog's new game. She's also, by the way, in The Last of Us season 2. That actress is one of is part of Abby's crew. I'm like, I hope you bring that anger. I hope you hate watching every season so we
Mhm,
get more seasons of Last of Us, asshole. Piece of shit.
mhm.
I love it. All right. That's wrapping up the movie. Let's get into my favorite section, drama class, a holdover from MC University. We have a few here. I'll start with a very quick one because it's just a one line and it tickled me. There's a lot of like little like inside jokes for like DC properties in this one. This is from Cyborg during their Justice League meeting. Uh,
Mhm.
well, if that's it, we'll meet next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. What
I
a line.
love Vic so much.
I do too. And what a great line. Shouting out Adam West's Batman series from back in the day. Rest in peace.
Mhm.
You do the next one. I do you want to be Flashing Green Lantern and I'll be Batman? Or I guess,
How about we flip that?
yeah. You want to be Batman, I'll be Green Lantern and Flash?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a meeting with the headmaster at Damien's boarding school.
No way. Batman has a parent teacher conference? That's great. Are you in the PTA too? Tell me you're in the PTA. I'm Batman. We need more chaperones for homecoming. Who has to be convinced to sign up? Oh, I'm just joking. I think that's great. Um, is he still glaring at me? Fucking
Yeah,
great.
my dude.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. That's like where the respect for Barry just goes out the window. He's like a fucking funny guy. You think you're funny? Um, this was a very cool line because this is literally one of my favorite lines in all of motion picture history, and it was cool to
Mm.
have the flip of it in this movie. Superman saves Lois from a helicopter crashing. He's all wounded. I could be Lois if you want to be Superman.
Huh.
I've got you.
You've got me. Who's got you?
Great line delivery. God, I love it. I got it. That's literally as a
I
child.
love the reverse.
Dude, that is one of my favorite lines, like, as I mentioned, in all of motion picture, and that's like one that stuck with me since the very first time I ever watched Superman the motion picture. Like that line, the first introduction of Lois and to Superman. Yeah, I got you, ma'am. You got me. Who's got you? Just the best, man. Can't beat that, man. All right, moving on. We have Cyborg, Batman, Wonder Woman. You want me to be Cyborg and Batman? You be Wonder Woman?
Uh, why don't you do Batman and I'll do Cyborg and Wonder Woman?
Okay, sounds good.
It kind of goes back and forth
Mm.
there. All right. Operating budget for this upcoming fiscal year. Utilities are above what the UN cleared for funding, guys.
I'll handle it. Move on, Cyborg.
Wonder Woman merchandise did very well this year. I could step up when the Wayne Foundation falls short.
You're kidding, right?
I sure hope you are, Diana.
Right? Listen, I get it. Like Wonder Woman action figure, like and shirts and everything, and I'm sure you sell the
Yeah,
shield and everything. Listen, I'm
but
sure.
merchandise
Come on, man.
sales does not hold up to multi-generational wealth
Yeah.
any day of the week.
Listen, Diana. I understand you're from an island, and this is gonna sound like mansplaining, but Bruce Wayne is a white, wealthy man. I'm sorry. That
Just
trumps
wealthy.
merchandise sales.
Multi-billionaire. Like
Yeah.
he could solve like all of the world's major crises and still be a billionaire. Like
Yep.
he's not
Yeah.
there's a Tumblr post that's so iconic. That's basically like Bruce doing everything in his fucking power to get rid of his wealth and like investing in all of these like initiatives that everybody says is gonna like ruin a company, like super sustainable, like paying your employees a super like high living wage, like free healthcare for everybody, and then he just keeps making more and more money as he's
It's like,
trying to
God
get
damn it.
but yeah, no, even when he tries to like spend all his money, he still makes more in return than he
which is
invested.
which I do love that, because now, especially with so many of us who've grown up with like the animated series or anything like that, so many people like us have now grown into a position where they're creative, they're part of DC, they're starting writing comics. They have the same idea that many of us do as fans, where it's like, well, he should be using his money for other stuff, right? And they now have actively shown like, hey, he does the Wayne Foundation where he does this and that, oh, and now what we're at in, I think Hush 2 just started. I think he doesn't live at the mansion, he lives in the city. He tries to have the whole, his family with him. Like, he's trying to do little things. He's not living as lavishly. He's starting to learn a little more of how to use his money. Though I do love when he's, a little bit of a dick about it. He doesn't do it often, but like I think about the clip that keeps coming around. I saw so many times when I was watching it. Gotham with funny enough, Tommy Elliott, who we were just talking about in Hush. Um where he's like, "Oh, you can't come in this club, Wayne, like you're a dork, whatever, you're a weirdo," and all this stuff. And Bruce talks to the bouncer. Bouncer talks to the manager, comes back, he's like, all right, you're in, Mr. Wayne. And he's like all young, and he's like, all right, yeah, these guys are with me, except for him. He's like, you can't do that. He's like, yeah, he can. He just bought the club. It's like, fuck yeah, Bruce. Fuck yeah,
Hell
dude. I love
yeah.
when he does shit like that. Just to be
I like
petty.
a mid-20s Bruce. Like maybe just acquired dick and like but still has like a not fully formed frontal lobe and like will just make the most ridiculous on the spot decisions that are so reflective of, growing up a multi-billionaire.
Yeah. Like, it's something he doesn't have to think of. Like, it's very funny. And yeah, I love that they touch upon this too. And I do love that Batman doesn't necessarily jump into it. I do love that the UN is, I don't know, I guess they're sponsoring the Justice League, which makes sense. And in any aspect, actually, the UN being funding, the Justice League actually does make a lot of sense, because like, there's
Of
no
any
oversight.
governing body to regulate, I would trust the UN more than anybody
Yeah,
else.
because the good thing, you don't get, a lot of issues where you get in comic books, or the Sokovia Accords or the Civil Rights Act, and Marvel, or I forget what Stanford, what they call it, the Stanford thing, in the comics. You don't get the, oh, you can't be deployed. I was like, no, no, like Ghana needs aid. Superman, oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'll send Flash ahead to do something, and then I'll be over there. And when I'm done with this volcano over here, in Iceland, and then I'll be over. I got you. Yeah, like they don't have to think about that, which is nice. To think about where, you know, different storylines is like, oh, Superman, if you walk in here, that's the USA walking in, and that's why we have now, truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. No longer truth, justice in the American way, because there's a reason, especially in 2025. All right, finally, this is the last line for John Class. Save the saddest for last. You want to be
Of
Superman or
course you
Lois?
did. Up to you. You pick what role you want.
All right, I'll be Superman.
Stay with me. Please. Stay with me.
That thing, is he
Yeah, you did it. You saved everyone.
good? That's all I ever wanted, except for you. What a lucky man I was. God, he dies with a
Boo,
smile on his
Clark.
face. God damn, man. Killed it. What a final line for that movie. And then you get 18 fucking endings for no reason. Um where like you just do it as one. I don't know how you do it, but you just do it as one. That would be nice.
Just a quick
Um,
little montage.
that's
It's
it.
fine.
No, yeah, nothing more. Quiz time. Don't have anything. The past couple of episodes, we didn't really have much. It's just kind of vibing with the movie that we got. But we're gonna move into homeroom. So for final thoughts, Sly, what's your final thoughts on 2018's The Death of Superman?
Pretty solid. Pretty good. It fixed a lot of issues I think we were having with the DCAMU as a whole.
Mhm.
Starting to head in that right direction, and we still have 3, 4, 5 more movies of this universe before we hit Tomorrowverse. So see how they wrap things up. I I think we're have you seen any of the next 5 movies we're watching?
Um, I I want to say I did it because that's why I thought with this one, but I don't believe I've seen Reign of Superman. I have not seen next week's episode, which we'll get to in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Constantine. What do we have next? We have Death of Super. Oh, no, so we did that. Constantine, City of Dreams. I've not seen that. Reign of Superman. I've not seen that. Batman Hush. I'm really excited to see because I have not seen that, and I know
Yeah, I haven't seen that interpretation of
that's
that
another big
storyline.
adaptation. Yeah, of the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Or Wonder Woman Bloodlines. I was really excited for her to finally get a movie.
We'll
Um,
see how they do with it.
it's true. Yeah,
I don't feel great about it, but
yeah. I
we'll
have
reserve our
seen.
judgment for that.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Just because I was very interested to see like how this all wrapped up at the end. And then of course, if you've seen our bonus content, you know how it does end because Constantine talks about the ending of this. But yeah, I think I've seen, if anything, just clips and a shitload of clips from Justice
Mm-hmm.
League Dark. I basically have seen most of that movie, I want to say.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, just excited to see, what the rest of this universe looks like.
Mhm.
Um, like you mentioned, we're revisiting Constantine next week with City of Demons, but I'm really excited to see what we get in Reign of the Supermen. I think that'll
Oh,
be a
babe.
really fun one. So, but we do have to wait a whole 2 weeks to get to
I
that
know.
one, unfortunately.
I know. It's like a little
Um,
teaser.
yeah, they kept doing this thing, especially like when we had like Son of Batman teasing Batman versus Robin and got interrupted with Throne of Atlantis. Like, I don't know who was planning out these release
Yeah.
calendars, but it keeps you set something up and you have all this momentum going into it, and then you toss out something else, and we're like, wait, what's going on? And then have to
Yeah.
pivot
It's
back.
also weird when you get something that is a straight up adaptation, in this
Mhm.
universe, and then there's a logical second part, knowing that,
Right.
hey, we're doing Death of Superman. Well, this is a connected universe for the first time in a long time. The next one is, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, we're doing Reign of Superman. Cool. So that's the next movie. Like, nah, you gotta watch Constantine.
So,
I'm like, am I excited for Constantine?
all right.
Yes. But
Mhm.
would I like to see Connor Kent? Like, I feel like the dude in the Mandalorian, like, show me the baby. I want to see the baby. Like, I want
I
to
would
see
like to
Connor
see
Kent.
the baby.
I need to see my boy. That's my boy. And I also love Steel. I'm a huge fan of Steel. As someone who owned the VHS of Shaquille O'Neal's Steel, reluctantly, I love the character of John Henry Irons. Shaq's portrayal, not great. But that's for two
I love
weeks. We're gonna talk
Shaq.
about that. I love Shaq, the basketball player, and Shaq, the NBA commentator, and Shaq, the player hater of the year, who always shits on chubby, as he calls him, chubby Charles Barkley. But
You don't like
Shaq,
Shaq the actor?
Shaq the
That's
actor is,
that might be my favorite interpretation of Shaq because it's so fucking ridiculous.
it is. And honestly, because you love basketball, Sly, you know
Hmm.
what Shaq's weakness is, right? In real life, like free throws.
Hmm.
The end
Yeah,
of the end of
man's
steel.
terrible at it.
Yeah, the end of steel comes down to him shooting a free throw in a burning building. And let me tell you
In a
this.
burning building.
Yeah, I don't know why he came. Ray J's in there for some reason too in the movie.
All
Um,
right.
he makes the free throw. And I remember being a child and being like, "That's the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen in my life." I know enough as
You can be
however old I
creative
was.
with the camera angles to pull that one off. Yeah, no, Love Shack.
1997. So I was
Oh,
10. I was a 10-year-old boy being like, "Mm-mm, nope, nope, I don't believe it. You broke the suspension of belief." And I remember coming to school the next day and talking to my cousin who saw it, and I'm like, "I that doesn't make sense." He's like, "No, it doesn't. It doesn't." I was like, "He can't make those in real life."
anyways, we love you, Shack. Come on the
We do
show.
like,
We'll
oh
be
my,
nice to you, I promise.
please, I would love to get Shaq on the show. I would. He's such a big Superman fan. That would we couldn't even cover an episode. We just had to talk about Superman for an hour. Like that's all I want. Get me a room with Jared Petty, Mark Wade, Greg Miller, myself, Shaquille O'Neal, uh, maybe James Gunn could be. I'll be the moderator. How about that? And we'll get James Gunn, and we'll just talk about Superman for an hour. That's my dream right there. There we
Dream
go.
panel. All right, we'll
Yeah,
make it happen. 3 to 5 business years.
yeah,
You
exactly.
heard it here first.
That's the dream. All right. Yeah, for me, I thought this was a really great adaptation of it. It was a very solid movie. I think you can watch this movie. I recommend watching this movie. Of course, I am, you know, a huge Superman fan, so it is easy for me to say that. But I think it's good. I think you can just jump into this movie as well. I don't think you need to watch any of the previous ones. You would have to watch the second part of this because it is a two-parter, but I think you get a really good movie out of it. And as I mentioned in my notes, like my my big note, and I think will sum up the movie for me is see Zack Snyder. You want a crazy, brutal Superman movie? This is what you do. This fight is intense and brutal to watch, but Clark is still being Superman, still trying to save people, and he still has a smile on his face to put a kid at ease. That's fucking Superman. That's what you do, and you get it in this movie. And he kills because he has to, not because two people are about to get burned by heat vision and he can easily just like manipulate the dude's head or just fly Zod into the sky. Just fly him up. Nope. No, it's a literal monster. He killed like millions of people. He's like, I gotta punch his face so hard that it turns around 180. But I'm not gonna shit on Zack Snyder too much. I do tend to like a lot of his movies. I won't. He has a lot of flaws, but a lot of fun stuff he does too every once in a while. But that is homeroom. Finally, your homework, as we mentioned a little bit ago, is our next movie, Constantine: City of Demons, where we get a returning Matt Ryan, arguably the GOAT when it comes to playing Constantine. It's him and Keanu Reeves. That's it. There's nobody else. So he's done it more. He kind of gets the title, unfortunately. But I'm very excited. I'm excited to watch this. I am also just excited to get back into the second part of this movie. But a little Constantine, break is nice.
Yeah.
Sly, before we sign off, where can people
Mhm.
find you?
Don't. You don't
Don't.
need to find me. It's fine. We can just exist in this liminal space where you just hear our words through your ear holes that don't know anything about us as people. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go. You can find me here at youtube.com/point of progress. If you're watching the video content, if you're listening, you can find us on podcast services anywhere that you love listening to the podcast. For this show specifically, again, we have MC University and other shows on there. Again, if you're listening, go to youtube.com/point of progress, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Vice versa. If you're watching, go to your audio podcast service of choice. Even just like share it, just spread the word on for
Leave a
people.
review. We might shout
Yeah,
you out. Who knows?
yeah, hell yeah. Leave a review. For video watchers though, we had a couple. We've been very busy randomly out of nowhere. You can find a video that I randomly was just recording before we were recording one of our videos. I'm like, damn,
Yeah,
this is like,
hold on. I
yeah,
have to have a gripe with you publicly on air here.
yeah, yeah,
I love how you broke out that video and didn't cut my rant about the quality of banh mi in the city. Like
yeah.
you could have easily started that video like 2 minutes later and
Yep.
would have got the same exact.
No, 100%. I
Just
definitely
cold open me talking about sandwiches.
yep, that's how lazy I am. Is like, you know, when Barry was like, "Hey man, if you join Point of Progress, we need you to do more editing and stuff." Like, yeah, no problem, sure. This is my editing though. It is very lazy. So it's like I was re-listening to it as I was editing the episode that will be coming out, or you've seen it already, uh, which is Suicide Squad. We were talking about your newfound love of wrestling, pre WrestleMania
Mm.
41. And I was listening to it again. I was like, damn, this is actually be really good. I was like, you know what? I made a quick thumbnail. I was like doing all this other stuff while I was eating dinner. I texted everyone. I was like, hey, I uploaded this. Can y'all watch it and tell me if we should just embarrass just like release it? Which I loved. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Person that no longer works at Point of Progress. You don't have to tell me twice.
Still a founder. He still has voting power.
Exactly. That's true. So I released it, but yeah, that's on there. This show in video form's on there. MC University's on there. Um, me, Fee, and Frank reviewed the first two episodes of Terabytes, which is a horror video game docu series. 5 episodes. We got to see the first two before they're released, so we saw pre-release stuff. They're great. I'm telling you, I know obviously grain of salt, we got early access to them. We have an affiliate link on that on that episode that you can see and support us and them, the creators out there. If you click and buy, a bundle, but it is really good, and I think our discussion is very fun as well. And then, as I mentioned, I'm wrapping up some personal games that I've been playing on the side that not for video stuff. Just I wanted to play South of Midnight. I'm almost done that, which has been phenomenal. And I'm going to start recording again. I love when I start talking about it because I look at my PlayStation because I love it so much, and it's right here. I'm going to start recording. It's not a loop. It's Control, our third season of our Remedyverse playthrough series. So that should be uploading soon. If you're here on youtube.com/point of progress, you see it there. And then go to my personal site, youtube.com/nerdaday. My last video where we talked about all the Switch 2 details, which are still technically relevant because the price didn't change because of tariffs. Uh, just anything you hear me talk about amiibos or accessories, that's changed. That's got way more expensive. But hey, man, still $450 for the console and $500 for the bundle. So yay. You can check that out over there. Give a sub. But till next time, class is dismissed.